So let's pretend I call you up and ask you to come over right away. I've been digging in my backyard, I say, and I found something that is going to rewrite the timeline of human history as we know it. When you get to my place, I show you some old looking pots still covered in dirt that have stylized pictures on them. One has art that depicts ancient seeming people performing open heart surgery. Another shows humans riding dinosaurs. If you were Dr. Javier Cabrera Darquilla, you would choose the latter. He did have pretty much that reaction when a Peruvian farmer gave him a stone tablet, one of the first to be dubbed an Ica stone. Cabrera claimed that the stone showed a picture of a fish long extinct before humans roamed the earth. According to Cabrera, this meant that either aliens gave humans some inside info about extinct fish at some point, or the extinction slash human timeline is as wrong as can be. Now, note that the farmer who gave Cabrera the original stone did admit to carving some of them, and it's true that there's a ton of them, at least, which could lead one to consider that the sheer number of them could be a compelling point. But it's also been posited that other people in the region have also used them to ply the tourist trade, and that some of the stones might be at least somewhat authentic pre Columbian art from the region. To the best of our knowledge, no testing has been done on the Ica stones by those who claim the stones were recently manufactured, and no rigorous critique of them has been published in literature. Stones that have been found by museum-sponsored excavations or prominent archaeologists have naturally been accepted without authentication, but the Ica stones of unknown provenance are another story. Seeking to establish credibility for his collection, Cabrera commissioned a number of tests on his artifacts. For example, in 1967, a few of his stones were submitted for examination to staff at a mining company in Lima, Peru. Geologist Eric Wolf documented his opinion that the patina and signs of wear demonstrated antiquity. Wolf then submitted the stones to a laboratory in Bonn, Germany, for further testing, and he later reported that on January 28, 1969, I received word from the lab that the results of the laboratory analysis conducted by a Professor Frenchin and his assistants at the University of Bonn were available. The stones were andesite and were covered by a patina or film of natural oxidation, which also covered the etchings, permitting one to deduce that they are very old. Some independent researchers have taken the initiative to analyze the Cabrera Ica stones and concluded that they are indeed genuine antiquities. Ryan Drum is an American biologist from Iowa State University, and while a NATO scholar, he did postdoctoral studies on cell biology with an electron microscope at the universities of Bonn, Germany, and Leeds, England. Drum has authored over 30 scientific papers in peer-reviewed journals and has written the book Electron Microscopy of Diatom Cells. In the 1970s, he brought two Ica stones to the U.S. and performed a microscopic analysis of them, and he said, I've examined the rocks at 30 and 60 magnification in a stereo microscope and found no obvious grinding or polishing marks. And when Wurtzel corresponded with him regarding patination, Drum clarified there was some desert varnish, but not enough for me to clarify the age. Over the course of the last 2 decades, a person by the name of Swift has traveled numerous times to southern Peru, building up relationships with Cabrera, various museum officials, archaeologists, and others. And on one trip, Cabrera gave me a couple of his Ica stones that had dinosaurs engraved upon them. And I personally visited the desert tomb sites on a number of occasions, and once while a group of us were walking over a gray desert hill, that was a burial mound, we came upon some previously unknown tombs that had only recently collapsed, and there, to my surprise, I discovered an engraved stone in situ embedded in the side of the tomb. And I filmed this with a camcorder, and that particular stone was decorated with some nondescript geometric shapes. All three stones were submitted to Mason Optical Inc. in Hillsboro, Oregon for initial analysis. The lab established as a recent production with no authentic patina buildup in the angled incisions, and careful analysis by their specialized jumbo hospital stereoscopic microscope even detected blue metal flakes in an incision that undoubtedly traces of Basilio Utsuya's hacksaw blade. The analysis of the Cabrera stone of unknown provenance revealed a fine patina, embedded dirt, and natural oxidation that are solid evidence of authenticity. The lab report stated, quote, "These stones have been engraved with drawings. The incision of the drawings had a patina film over them. Therefore, they could not be of recent origin. In addition to these age indicators, the museum stone displayed extensive saltpeter buildup and even a lichen growth on one section of the stone." And the report concluded that patination is a relative dating method and is not absolute. These stones could have been engraved 500 years ago, 2,000 years ago, or earlier, but definitely are not modern. And while this lab report was pretty definitive for the artifacts tested, there still remained a significant degree of uncertainty how well this test would work for the many Cabrera collection artifacts, and most of the stones of unknown provenance, including those with obvious dinosaurian depictions, display very little patina, and in very arid conditions, it is not uncommon for genuine artifacts to have little or no patina, even after many centuries. And as the lab report itself concluded, patination is a relative dating method. So, this is more info and background on dating fossils. Fossil can be studied to determine what kind of organism it represents, how they lived, and how it was preserved. However, by itself, a fossil has little meaning unless it's placed within some context. The age of the fossil must be determined so it can be compared to other fossil species that helps scientists piece together the evolutionary history of a group of organisms. For example, based on the primate fossil record, scientists know that living primates evolved from fossil primates and that this history took tens of millions of years. And by comparing fossils of different primate species, scientists can examine how features changed and how they evolved through time. However, the age of each fossil primate needs to be determined so that fossils of the same age found in different parts of the world and of different ages can be compared. There are three general approaches that allow scientists to date geological materials and answer the question, how old is this fossil? First, the relative age of a fossil can be determined, and then relative dating puts geologic events in chronological order without requiring that a specific numerical age be assigned to each event. Second, it is possible to determine the age for fossils or earth materials, and numerical ages estimate the date of a geological event and can sometimes reveal quite precisely when a fossil species existed in time. Third, magnetism in rocks can be used to estimate the age of a fossil site. This method uses the orientation of the Earth's magnetic field, which has changed throughout time, to determine ages for fossils in rocks. My own thoughts on these is pretty simple, that these are fakes, forgeries that were made early on in Columbian colonization to help prove some pre-Columbian transoceanic voyages proof or whatever. I've been listening to a great podcast called Historical Blindness. You should listen to it. It's really interesting, but that's fine. This has been your host, Luke. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe for more. I hope you have a great night. Thanks for watching.